Hey there, Reds. Welcome to Manchester United Daily Updates, your daily hub for all things Manchester United. From transfer news to match, updates and behind-the-scenes stories, we've got it all. Let's get started.
Manchester United transfer troubles started with Sir Alex Ferguson and the Glazers. Punters focus on Man United's recruitment since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement, but the problems date back to 2009. Two world-class signings. David Gill promised Manchester United supporters in 2006. The incomings were Michael Carrick and Tomasz Kusak. Carrick had a great career at United, seeing it all and winning the lot. United paid nearly double the opening £10 million offer they made to Tottenham, with Sir Alex Ferguson enduring a negotiation process with Daniel Levy that was more painful than my hip replacement. That deal came in the midst of a golden era of recruitment for United, sparked by Wayne Rooney's defection down the East Lancs Road in 2004. In the summer and winter transfer windows in 2005 to 2006, United signed Edwin van der Sar, Ji-sung Park, Nemanja Vidic and Patrice Evra for £19.5 million. Carrick, van der Sar, Vidic and Evra started in all three Champions League finals United reached between 2008-11 and Park in 2. Ferguson's hit rate for out-and-out successes subsided significantly in his twilight years. Even the 2007 intake, United's best-ever summer window, have caveats. Owen Hargreaves and Anderson peaked in their first seasons. Carlos Tevez left after 2 years, and though Nani developed into a higher-caliber winger, it was fleeting. Nani's Old Trafford career ended with his return to Sporting for a season-long loan before United accepted peanuts from Fenerbahce. Dimitar Berbatov, the headline arrival in 2008, was so polarizing he was dropped from the 2011 Champions League final squad even though he was the team's top scorer. Berbatov was afforded a meager 11 starts in his final season, filling in at centre-half in the League Cup stroll against Leeds United. Berbatov, Nani and Anderson are deified as they were members of title-winning squads, and the former two, in particular, were classy conjurers. Hargreaves donned United garb back at Carrington for an interview last month. Antonio Valencia, United's most expensive addition in 2009 for a prudent £16.5 million, had a fine career at Old Trafford and is fondly remembered. He also requested to revert back to his old squad number of 25 after being cowed by the 7 in Ferguson's final season. Valencia was a woeful captain in his last injury-plagued term. United ignored the 1-year extension option in his contract and released him in 2019. It is easy to be dewy-eyed about Valencia, Javier Hernandez, Robin van Persie etc., yet Ferguson's hits had some misses. Literally. Van Persie decided which side of Manchester the Premier League trophy would be housed in 2013, but his 2-month drought coincided with a crushing Champions League elimination by Real Madrid and a feeble FA Cup collapse against Chelsea. Van Persie had the odd great moment under David Moyes, the heroic hat-trick in the comeback against Olympiacos. But he, too, was let go a year early and ended up at the Fenerbahce retirement home. Fresh Jack Grealish injury doubt versus Plymouth sums up the Man City dilemma that has no solution. Pep Guardiola spoke about light at the end of the tunnel for Oscar Bob and his injury nightmare. For Jack Grealish, there is no way out of the tunnel, and this weekend could see a further setback in his mission to return for Manchester City. A last-minute substitute at Tottenham, Grealish did not touch the ball in his latest comeback from injury. This is 150th appearance for the club. The FA Cup clash with Plymouth should be a perfect chance for him to start again after previous returns at Leyton Orient and against Real Madrid ended abruptly. However, Guardiola admitted Grealish may not be ready to play in such a physical game, raising more doubts over his long-term fitness. Grealish has started back-to-back games for City just once since September and has not completed 90 minutes twice in a row all campaign. Guardiola jumped to Grealish's defense in terms of what he can offer, but insisted that he cannot wait around for the £100 million man to get fit, especially with Jeremy Doku and Savinho in good form. Listen, Jack played at Orient and was really good, then played against Madrid afterwards. Madrid is not a friendly, right? Said Guardiola. After 20 minutes he was out, injured. It has happened this season. You see Jeremy now and Savio in that position because it's obvious they have to play. The reason Jack didn't play much was because he was not able. He had niggles and problems. For this game, I don't know if he will be ready to play in a game where you have to be there. physically? This is the question. There is no question mark about his quality. I've never ever doubted the quality Jack has. But because of problems, he has not played 3 games in a row. Grealish did manage 3 starts in succession for City at the beginning of the season, but there were 2 international games in the middle of that run, and he was then dropped against Arsenal. It wasn't long until he suffered his first injury of the campaign, and he has been unable to feature regularly since. He has not started in the Premier League since before Christmas. Guardiola continued. He played well against Nottingham Forest, then afterwards didn't play, and in a training session was injured again. Not big issues, but he could not make a big effort and sprint again and again and again. This is the only question mark, not any other question mark. As Guardiola looks at what his squad will be like next season, he trumpeted Doku and Savinho as the future of his attack at Tottenham. He said he expects his contracted players to remain at the Etihad next season as talk grows in the background over Grealish's longer-term future. The FA Cup would be a perfect opportunity for Grealish to remind Guardiola of the quality the manager talks about. But if he can't be fit or physical enough, then perhaps that tells City what they need to know. What time is the FA Cup quarterfinal draw? TV channel and ball numbers. Manchester City and Manchester United will hope to navigate tricky FA Cup ties this weekend and advance to the quarterfinals of the competition. City will hope to avoid an upset when they welcome championship strugglers Plymouth Argyle to the Etihad on Saturday. Argyle have won just 6 championship games this season but made headlines worldwide when they defeated Premier League leaders Liverpool in the 4th round. United, meanwhile, winners of the competition for a 13th time last season, will hope that the FA Cup continues to be a welcome distraction from their Premier League woes when they host Fulham at Old Trafford on Sunday. Should both sides advance, it is almost certain they would face a Premier League rival in the last 8, with 11 of the 16 remaining sides in the top flight. When is the FA Cup quarterfinal draw? The FA Cup quarterfinal draw will take place on Sunday, March 2nd, after Manchester United's 5th round tie against Fulham. How can I watch the FA Cup quarterfinal draw? The FA Cup draw and United's tie against Fulham will be shown live on BBC One. City's match against Plymouth is live on ITV4 on Saturday. What are the ball numbers for the FA Cup quarterfinal draw? 1. Preston or Burnley. 2. Aston Villa or Cardiff. 3. Crystal Palace or Millwall. 4. Manchester United or Fulham. 5. Newcastle or Brighton. 6. Bournemouth or Wolves. 7. Man City or Plymouth. When will the FA Cup quarterfinals be played? The FA Cup quarterfinals will take place on the weekend of March 29, 2025. I regret selling Man United star Gary Neville called it a travesty, and he is right. Sir Alex Ferguson admitted his regret after selling Stam and said Gary Neville was correct in calling his decision a travesty. The Manchester United icon brought the Dutchman to Old Trafford in 1998 for a £10.6 million fee, and it was immediately clear why Ferguson forked out such a figure. Stam had established himself as one of the premier defenders in world football in the 3 years he spent in Manchester, which included 3 consecutive league titles and a treble triumph in the 1998-99 campaign. Despite his reputation and importance to United, he was surprisingly sold in 2001 to Lazio for £15.3 million after Ferguson was left incensed by numerous claims Stam made in his head-to-head autobiography. He had claimed that the Red Devils illegally tapped him up before acquiring him from PSV Eindhoven. United's first season post-Stam was a huge failure as the club failed to win any silverware for the first time in 4 years. The decision to part ways with the 52-year-old was one the Scotsman came to regret, as Neville later admitted. Allowing the former centre-back to leave was a shocking choice. Sir Alex Ferguson has since admitted it was a mistake letting go of Stam, the Sky Sports pundit said on the Stick to Football podcast. When it happened, it was a massive shock. It's a travesty really that Yap only played for Manchester United for 3 years. The quality of centre-back Yap was one of the best centre-backs that's ever played in the Premier League, let alone at Manchester United. 6 years after selling Stam to the Serie A side, Ferguson announced his regret at the Dutchman's departure but claimed his exit was to do with his Achilles injury he suffered a year before. At the time, he had just come back from an Achilles injury and we thought he had just lost a little bit. The 83-year-old told an audience at the Citizens Theatre in Glasgow. We got the offer from Lazio £16.5 million for a centre-back that was 29. It was an offer I couldn't refuse. But in playing terms, it was a mistake. He is still playing for Ajax at a really good level. After 3 years in Rome, Stam spent 2 years at AC Milan before ending his career in his native Netherlands with Ajax in 2007.